Hi there YouTubers, we're going to start another weaving video, and before we get to weaving, one of the things we've got to do is wind our bobbins so that we've got some weft thread to throw. The loom is already warped up. I've already started weaving on the project that I'm working on, but I've used up all the bobbins that I had in my first go around, so I need to wind a few more. So thought what I'd do is show you the way I wind bobbins, which is really nothing at all special, although I have seen discussions in Facebook of what's the best way to wind a bobbin. You can buy a bobbin winder for $100 and some to get an electric one, or you can get a hand crank one, but I can't see the purpose in that. You can buy a cheap electric drill, and instead of using a drill bit, I use a plain old yellow pencil as instead of a drill bit, and I just slide the bobbin onto that. So let me show you how I would do this, and it's real simple. Here's the drill bit with the yellow pencil. The yellow pencil isn't quite big enough around. If you put the bobbin on, it'll turn loosely. So I've put just one piece of Scotch tape on there to make the diameter just the teeniest little bit bigger. I'm going to grab my thread, and we'll take just a couple turns by hand just to get it started. Okay, so there we are, we've got a start. This is going to be noisy because the drill is noisy. It's just a Skill high-speed chuckless drill. You could use any electric drill, I think. So let's go. Enough of that. Grab a scissors. This is acrylic yarn, it's hard to break it by hand. So we'll start our next one. A couple of turns by hand. Grab the old electric drill again. As you can see, my yarn is a variegated set of colors. I'll show you what the yarn is in a minute. This is producing a really interesting pattern in the woven piece, having these colors changing so often like this. And I'll show you that in just a minute after we get one more bobbin wound. Now the good news is, because it's fairly thick yarn, I can weave fairly fast with it. The bad news is it's so thick I don't get a lot onto each bobbin, so it's a fairly short bit. Okay, let's take a look at the back of the loom so you can see the warp. Oh, that's not plugged in. Okay, well, hopefully you can see there. We'll put a little bit of light on this situation. And you get a little bit better idea. what that looks like. I think it's kind of neat, even back here. Just seeing all the stripes going one way. Now let's take a look at it from the front. Okay, we're at the front. Going to change the bobbins. You can obviously see this one's well and truly empty, so we'll just take that out, set it down in the little side pouch on my bench. Let's grab one of these. I like to have it unwind from the bottom, not from the top. So from the top it would be like this. Get that closer. I don't know if you can see it real well, but that's from the top. I don't like that. I like it unwinding from the bottom, like this. And now we've got to thread that through the little opening on the side of the shuttle, because I use a side feed shuttle, not an end feed shuttle. Put that in there. We'll put these 3 down in that little basket area. The last thread that I did was coming through like this way, and there's where it ended. That's the end of it. So I'm going to put the temple back on, just so we keep drawing to a minimum. And the weave here is just plain weave, also called tabby. So let's just go across once. And I don't like tying knots. I prefer to have just a small bit doubled up, so you can see there's the new one that I've just put in. Here's the old one coming out, and they're doubled up for about 2 inches. There you go. That's it. Now let's just do some real simple weaving. I'm missing something somewhere. I made a mistake. I got to fix that. Well, I figured out the mistake. I've got this tied up so I could either do twill or tabby. And I've been weaving tabby. The problem is that I have my right foot on the correct treadle for doing tabby, and my left foot on one of the treadles for doing twill. So, and because I was thinking I was doing tabby, I didn't move my left foot properly to get alternating levels, and I ended up with a long float in the warp. So now I need to unweave, which is kind of a pain. Wind the yarn backwards onto the bobbin by hand, and it's not as tight, so it's kind of loose looking. Oh well. Call it a learning experience. Okay, that's back to where I was supposed to be. I'll move my foot to the correct treadle, and we'll start over again. So, the moral of this story is, look at what you're doing, so that if you make a mistake, you see it before it gets too far along. let's take the temple off just for a minute. These little extra threads are obviously useless, so we're just going to snip those off. Throw them down in the little wastebasket. Don't need those things. Put the scissors up there and move the temple forward a bit. And I'm ready to weave some more. I told you I'd show you what my yarn is. It's called Yarnspirations Karen Jumbo. 595 yards in 12 ounces or 340 grams. And it's 100% acrylic. I bought acrylic yarn. I'm weaving with acrylic yarn for a very specific reason. This unusual looking piece of cloth will be a shawl. The church I go to has a ministry that's mostly a bunch of the women that do knitting have it, but they make shawls for people in nursing homes or people that are old folks that are shut in and at home. And I don't knit or crochet, and I'm not interested in learning, thank you very much. But I went up and talked to those ladies a week or so ago and asked them how they would feel about having some woven shawls, and they were interested. So I'm making one to give them and see if this will work for that what they call a prayer shawl ministry. So they want something that can not wool, because they don't want to take a chance with anyone who's allergic to wool. And they want it to be easily washed, and that's acrylic. So that's it for weaving. Look at how close we're getting to the end of this bobbin already. Five inches left over on this side. That's it. Time to change bobbins again. Well, YouTubers, I think I'm getting pretty close to the end of this warp, because here's where I tied it on. There's the back of my treadles, or pedals. So I think we can get one more advance out of this. Let's see. Yep, I think that's about the end of it. Okay, now we'll go around the front and try weaving the last couple inches. Last bobbin. So wherever this one ends is where the whole project ends. And I'm thinking that only about 2 more shots across, maybe 3 if I'm really lucky. Yep. There's the end of it. Weaving is done. Take the temple off. Let's loosen the tension a little bit. And grab our handy dandy trusty snipping tool I'm going to leave just a teeny bit of fringe there, but not much. The reason I'm not leaving any fringe on this, because I normally like to do twisted fringes and stuff, is the prayer shawl ministry at church, where this is going to get donated to, often gives shawls to people who are in wheelchairs. And fringes can get caught in the wheel mechanisms and stuff like that, and so they don't want any loose fringes sticking off of the ends of their shawls. So if that's what they want, fine, I have no problem with that. We just won't have any fringes. It means I'll have to hem this, but I don't think that's a particular problem either. So there we are. I'm going to take it into Judy's sewing room and put hems on it. I'll show you the finished product after I get that done. Well, YouTubers, this project is done, and I've got my girlfriend here to model it for you. It's just a shawl. Like I say, it's about 2 feet wide by about 5.5 feet long. So I'm going to turn her around. You can see the back of it. And so there it is. Finished product. You saw it was a variegated yarn. I'm going to bring it up closer to the camera so you can get a better idea of it. It really kind of neat because the pattern with the variegation appears to change as you go through it. So I'm quite happy with the unusualness of how this turned out. So that's this project all done, and I'll get on to the next one pretty soon. So until the next time around, if you like my videos, I'd appreciate you subscribing. If you're already a subscriber, thanks a million, and we'll see you the next time around on YouTube. Bye-bye.